Today, we are dialing it in on the Vegas Golden Knights, though, John, a team that, we'll start with this. They've been up and down all season, and up and down even in the back half of the year.
Yeah, and in the back half of the year, a lot of people look at all the different puzzle pieces they went out and acquired, but it looks like a puzzle without a picture, right? You buy a puzzle, it's got a picture on the box, and then you got to take the time to put all the pieces in the right place. But because not all those pieces have been available, i.e. Thomas Hertl, for example, and Mark Stone's out and all this type of stuff, it looks like the picture is not exactly clear. So not all the pieces have a very specific spot. And you look at those injuries, those are very, very big time players for these guys. So as they get closer to the playoffs, they will make the playoffs. It's figuring out what does that picture look like and where does every piece go? Because it's not obvious when you pick up a Mantha. It's not obvious when you pick up a Hanifin, for example. Where does everybody fit in?
One area that has not been working as of late is the power play. Is it personnel? Is it structure? Is it just a slump? What's going on with the Golden Knights when they have a man advantage?
I think it could be all of the above. I think one area that a lot of people don't talk about, considering you see the mobility of a Shea Theodore, considering you've seen the success of a guy like Pietrangelo, who is their power play quarterback? Who? Because last year, Pietrangelo had 14 power play points. That's nothing to write home about. The next guy on the list, Shea Theodore, had 9. This year, it's the opposite. Shea Theodore has 14. Pietrangelo has 9. That's not outstanding. So that's why their power play is 21st in the league overall, but more specifically since the trade deadline, 13.9%. That is 26th in the league. It's anemic at best. Anemic. And what's happening is their entries are great. Their faceoffs are great. Their zone time is great. They can't get to the inside. So as we fire up these clips, we'll see exactly why they can't get to the inside, because you see Hanifin here, for example, right off the bat, he doesn't scan the ice. So he's going back and forth with Eichel nonstop. Again, doesn't scan the ice. You got 3 guys on one side of the ice. You got to find a way to get to the east, to the weak side. He doesn't affect the depth by getting his feet outside the blue line. Look at in this game, Arizona down 4-1 going into the third. They give up 6 and they go 0 on the power play. That's a big difference. And when you get frustrated, you force bad shots like Hanifin did right there. You're one and done. Where's all the time and space? Hanifin should come down the pipe for a 1-T. No, they go goal line, force it. This is an easy play for Arizona to break up. They are killing their own power plays. It's not the PKs that are killing their power plays. Again, force a high tip when it's not available. Watch this play. So they're going to get a good setup after a draw. Again, Hanifin doesn't scan the ice. The weak side wide open, force a shot. Watch what triggers now the PK. Pressure, bouncing puck. Pressure, bouncing puck. Pressure. Like they can't get it settled down. So I feel as though that the quarterback part's got to be assessed. The other part is they've got to stop killing their own power plays by forcing plays. It's not all bad, right? Here, there's a lot of motion. Here, they're going to show a lot more poise in this sequence. And as Hanifin finally uses the 85 feet across the blue line, he's going to create space for Marchessault to get open in the slot. Not one chance, but it's going to create a second chance right here down the pipe. They have the personnel. It's the question mark for me is going to be their power play quarterback.
Man, it's amazing looking at some of those clips, John, because you look at it and you say Hanifin's so far out of the play that it's almost like it plays right into Arizona's hands. It creates more or less 4-on-4 down low that negates their advantage.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The PK was at the advantage on every sequence. I could have gone right down the pipe, even though they scored a couple against Vancouver recently. At the end of the day, chalk it up. It's 5 for 36 in the last 13 games, minus a shorthanded goal, which brings their net power play to 10%. That is almost, what is that? That's 30th in the league currently. So it's not good enough, but it's forcing plays, and the quarterback's got to do a better job of managing the 85 feet along that blue line.
Let's talk about some good in Vegas. And there's been a huge, trend, I guess, over the last 6 weeks of this team in an upward direction. And one of the key facets to that has really been how good of a job the Golden Knights have done defending off the rush. Show us what that means.
Well, depending on, I mean, everybody was so complimentary last year about how big they were on D, but how well they can skate. And that continues to play out here in these sequences. Their big men can move. They've got mobility and they can adjust in transition. Here you're going to get a sequence, 2D surfing together. It's synchronized. Pinch him off, cut off his arms. You don't have to get physical. Here again, Martinez, smart, dot line, negates the pass option. Watch the stick and the mobility of Pietrangelo. Bang, thank you very much. And it's gone. These guys, even when they have bad gaps, they can adjust east-west with their mobility. But when in doubt, you need the experience of a Stevenson, who used to be considered only a third-line player in Washington, who can play both sides of the puck to break up plays. Again, Martinez just matches speeds, denies anything to that outlet. Then it takes also the forward coming back. You create triangles. You force teams to relinquish the possession. Take an early gap. Once again, I can't speak highly enough of Alec Martinez, what he does away from the puck to deny entries and force teams to relinquish possession. Here, terrible gap. That's fine. But when you can be more, when you have the mobility, all of a sudden you went from a 50-foot gap to about a stick length away. And again, negating any offense coming down the pipe. They've got reach through the neutral zone. They've got mobility. And when they think they've got a bad gap, they've got great trackers coming right down the pipe to support.
It's really the trackers that is the staple of the Bruce Cassidy system, isn't it?
Yeah, because that tracker, every team, well, most teams you want to talk about sorted out by the red line. So D2's got to be that QB. And then it's that tracker, you want to cut the ice in half is typically rule number one. And then where do you want to deflect the pressure? Then every team has different rules. Kickouts either belong to the D or kickouts belong to the forwards. But it seems like no matter what might be anemic offensively on the power play, they're all in on the tracking.
Let's go back to the offense of this Golden Knights team, because we talked about the power play, bottom three in the league since February 1st, but their offense, goals for per game, still top 10 in that stretch. So what is allowing this Golden Knights team to find success offensively?
Well, this is where I get a bit of that offensive groove. I've been known as an offensive coach, and we talked about this during the playoff run last year. What were some of the struggles of some of those teams going deep in the playoffs? The Carolinas, the Floridas, they weren't offensively diversified, and Vegas was offensively diversified. They could score off the rush. They could score off the forecheck, the cycle, long sequences of OZP. But lo and behold, it's still the rush game right now. And it's how quickly they can go from one end to the back of your net. Not one end to the other end, one end to the back of the twine. And these are the sequences that'll show great defensive structure, great tracking, and quick transition within 6 to 7 seconds into the back of the net. Right here, you got Shea Theodore. He sees his open man. Great read to come off the wall. And watch the time on the clock. 8:57. Boom, up the ice. Carlson in the back of the net in 4 seconds. Good defensive structure. Arizona's boxed out. Hell of a stick. Again, watch the clock. From a turnover at 5:31 to 7 seconds later, hell of a give and go here between Mantha and Carlson, right in the back of the net. And again, under 7 seconds. That ability to quick strike like that, especially in the playoffs when turnovers are magnified that much more and the nerves settle in and the excitement of the WWE type of atmosphere settles into a playoff rink. These types of plays, this type of transition gets teams on their heels. Again, watch Jack Eichel. He's so far behind, but he forces Vancouver to focus on him, and it gives Marchessault all kinds of time to walk in and get it past the post. From a defensive structure, and what an area pass by Barbashev right here. You want to force me? No problem. We're driving the net and then all of a sudden you see Zadorov's head turn, and he forgets about Eichel. Great job by Cotter right here. Protects the puck. Stevens is like, see ya. Boom. Underneath. Kick it up. And now you got a non-man rush with Amadio coming right down the pipe. So the other part is, as their transition, their rush game to score, it's all four lines that have the capability. And when you add a guy like Nick Waugh, former first-round pick in the queue, and you add that to your four lines can be effective off the rush.
Fantastic stuff. As always, thanks for doing this, John.
Thanks, guys.
What's up, hockey fans? If you enjoyed that video, then you need to be hitting the subscribe button right here at Daily Faceoff. Exclusive interviews and analysis from our hockey insider Frank Saravalli, fantasy updates from Brock Sagan, and a daily live show at noon Eastern, Monday through Friday. You don't want to miss any of the fantastic content, so hit that subscribe button.